All right, hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of the Trial of Hearts. I am your DM, Maris Oram. I will be leading this wonderful game of drama and romance and intrigue, and it's just gonna be a delightful time, I hope, and certainly not painful for any of my players. That being said, let's do a round of introductions real quick. Sif, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off.
Oh my god, I'm first?
You're
Yippee! Hi,
first.
my name's Sif underscore VTuber, living suit of armor. I draw, I play games, I'm here. I am role playing as Sir Gwyn. I'm here to cause problems and be a pretty bird boy.
Pretty bird boy. Thank
Yeah.
you, Sif. Next up, Lily.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lily. I am playing I don't even know how to describe myself. The eccentric Topaz Stoneheart, Furbolg monk, technically, for however much classes are worth. Really excited to be playing here today, being the drama as ever and causing trouble. Um, as for myself, I'm a artist that focuses on D&D, OC art, as well as occasionally stuff that has to do with the trans experience. And I also run a campaign of my own, which is Mistwalker: Spectrum of Eternity. The second session just uploaded this morning, so if you have not seen or caught up with it, still just the first two sessions, so nothing too much, but
Yeah.
hope you watch it.
Yeah, go check out Mistwalkers. I'm definitely not biased in that opinion because I play in that campaign, but it's really, really great. Thank you, Lily. Also, next up, we have Vesper.
Hello, I am Vesper Fortune. I'm a variety VTuber, and tonight I am playing the official lore dumper, Oleander Bloodthorne. He is a rogue archaeologist servitor, and he is here to cause more official trouble.
All y'all are troublemakers. Let's be real. Your
You
own
really,
brand.
you really had to one up what I said. Goddamn, dude.
And last but certainly not least, we have Ares.
Hello, I'm Aresima the Harpy. I am a Harpy VTuber who does art and various other things and is generally sleepy and tired and looks like a mess. Playing Luella Stalwix, an Owlin politician.
Yeah. I love the burb representation in this party. It's delightful. So yes, bird up. Um Brief recap for the events that transpired in the last session. As a new day dawned at Hollow Light Estate, our lovely players took the opportunity to write letters to people both in and out of the estate. Some of them, aka Topaz and Oleander, received letters of their own from overbearing or concerned parents, respectively. They got to mingle with their fellow competitors over breakfast. Topaz and Gwyn talked of potential social etiquette tutelage before being interrupted by a business associate of Topaz's father. Luella saved Essie from a rather boring conversation with one of her political acquaintances, and Oleander successfully avoided a confrontation with an academic rival seeking solitude in the estate's library, where he looked for information about previous stars and trials. Before the first trial could even begin, an airship descended upon Hollow Light Estate belonging to one infamous Captain Wild, an orc sky pirate and lightning chaser, who presented Dame Leonora with an invitation to the trials, presumably acquired through some sort of nefarious means. After some arguing, Leonora permitted him to stay, provided he docked his ship elsewhere off the property and behaved himself according to her expectations. It was also revealed that Captain Wild's first mate is none other than Gwen's former right-hand man, though there appears to be no love lost between them. Dame Leonora announced the beginning of the first trial, a unicorn hunt. So a unicorn was set loose in the wild wooded areas surrounding the estate, and our players had to use their wits and creativity to capture the beast. Oleander teamed up with Damus, and together they planned to lull the unicorn to sleep with one of Damus's potions. Topaz attempted a more direct approach, attempting to capture the unicorn with their bare hands, using speed and agility as their strengths. Gwyn, ever the tactician, used the environment to his advantage and made alliances with both Parthenia and Luella to claim victory together. However, it was Luella who earned the unicorn's trust, returned to Hollow on its back, and was declared the winner of the first trial. We now enter a period of downtime where our players can converse with each other, make plans, conduct research, and strategize their next moves as they wish. So, all of that being said, you will notice a few changes in your reputation trackers given the events that transpired after the first trial. So just going to do a quick run through here. Gwyn, you actually remain where you were at a +1. However, for this session, you will have advantage in insight rolls as you continue to scout for alliances. Topaz, you bumped up. You are back to neutral. You were at -1, you are now at neutral. Though you failed to capture the unicorn, people were impressed that you were the first to reach it. Oleander, unfortunately, due to your display of chugging poison at the trials, your reputation has declined a little bit, and you are now at a -2. However, for this session, you will have advantage in intimidation rolls, as people were quite alarmed by your display of drinking poison. And Luella, you bumped up to a +2. You were the winner of the first trial, and people hold you in a higher esteem. You get to maintain your advantage in persuasion rolls. Any questions about your boons for this session?
No.
I should have released more horses.
I'm just so capable, and that's it.
Yep. You're doing good, sweetie.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we are going to have our very first official rumor phase. I say official because I cheated a little bit and had an unofficial DM rumor phase last time, which I'll touch on in a moment, but for rumor phases, this is an opportunity to begin a rumor or spread a current rumor into a scandal. The difference being is that rumors are like little bits of gossip flitting around amongst society. Scandals, however, most people will believe are true. So when you are starting or spreading a rumor, keep in mind that you are acting as society with a capital S, not necessarily as your character. So we are going to be behaving as third-party omniscient observers who are witnessing the events transpiring and circulating rumors as a reaction to what's going on. However, I will ask if your character has any part in creating or spreading the rumor of your choice. Let's see. Just for future reference, when a rumor has not been spread into rumor phases, it will be removed. It can't be spread again. You can't rehash old gossip. You can also, at this time, spend a narrative token if you have one. I believe both Luella and Oleander have narrative tokens at this point. You can use one of those to remove a rumor, but only during this particular rumor phase. So during the creation and spreading part. You can't decide halfway through a session that you want to get rid of a rumor. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. But friendly reminder, there is a rumor currently on the table because I spread one. I started one last session, and that was as a result of Topaz, in full view of most everybody, accused Oleander of being a witch sympathizer. And so many people heard that, and many people were gossiping about it. So that is currently the only rumor that is on the table. Other than that, the floor is yours, my friends. Would anybody like to go first and drop a rumor?
I feel like, considering what we've talked about, my rumor is the most apt. So I will volunteer to go first.
Excellent. What do you have for us, Lily?
As ever, the nice person in me just feels so terrible, but it's too juicy to pass up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be escalating Oleander's rumor myself.
Ooh. It is now a scandal. Oleander is a witch sympathizer. And most people will believe it true.
Just with the bit of extra flavor of, just to describe how it became more of a scandal, was observers watched Oleander drink the poisonous potion during the unicorn chase. As people are aware of the possibility of him being a witch sympathizer, people think that he must be truly desperate for the star to be willing to go through self-harm in an otherwise very high society and posh event with people playing together.
Very good. Very good. And would Topaz have a hand in the escalation of this rumor?
Absolutely the fuck not.
Okay.
Topaz would very much probably even hear this if they heard this rumor being spread, they would just shrug and go, whatever. It truly does not matter to them in any way, shape, or form. In fact, they didn't spread it themselves, but there's probably like a little bit of like a chuckle because of Oleander calling their father basically a farmer of blood diamonds.
So
but they don't care.
So you are not spreading it, but you're certainly not diluting it either.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, excellent, excellent. Would anyone like to volunteer to go next?
I will.
Go ahead. Oh. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. I was going to spread something new.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of, is Topaz actually a Stoneheart, given a rather extreme lack of decorum that, in comparison to rumors and such about her supposed lineage?
Ooh, that's juicy. Okay. All right. And would Luella have a hand in the creation / spreading of this rumor?
No, I feel like Luella would maybe hear about it, but it would be it doesn't matter, they're here.
Okay. Very good. Next.
I think you guys are a little too keen on the PvP here when we have a whole cast of NPCs to fuck over. I would like to start a rumor about Parthenia.
Ooh, what you got?
So remember how you mentioned, like, I don't know the full hot goss, the full tea on her being a rival of Oleander, but I would say, given some jealousy amidst the crowd for how Parthenia received at least partial credit from Gwyn and perhaps Luella mentioning, yeah, Parthenia did help, people would notice, wait a minute, Oleander drank a liquid that caused him to, suffer. and Parthenia doesn't like Oleander, and we don't like Parthenia. So I think just a rumor about how she's not actually talented and has had to rig the game to get any credit
Oh my god.
between the fog and the poison.
Ooh.
Yeah, I gotta knock her down to rise myself
I
up.
like that. Okay. I'm writing these down.
He's writing.
Excellent. All right, so Parthenia attempted to rig the trial, needing to attempt to poison Oleander to get ahead. That's spicy. Excellent.
Does that combat the rumor I started as well? Because if Oleander did not intend to drink the poison because of Parthenia's action, it was a Parthenia.
Gossip is gossip. And
So it's kind of both floating.
I think that two conflicting accounts could very well be circulating. I do think more people would buy into the witch sympathizer one because that is now a scandal. But I'm sure there are a few people who are also tittering about the possibility that it was actually it wasn't Oleander per se, but it was Parthenia trying to get even and, boost her own abilities.
I just want to add, between the two rumors, it really depends on which camp you are. If you're an Oleander hater, you accuse him of being a witch. If you're a Parthenia hater, you accuse her of being a cheater. And if you are a hater of both, you are enjoying yourself quite immensely.
That's a great way to put it.
As long as Parthenia hears the rumor. Good. Sorry.
Yeah, would Gwyn have a hand in the creation/spreading of this rumor?
I'm not gonna lie, Gwyn would not start it, but if he hears it, he'll make sure Parthenia can hear it from somebody else.
Ooh.
Love it.
I love that. That's messy. Okay. Vesper, what you got?
Well, since Ares was petty enough for me, I can go with my original rumor. My rumor is that Dame Leonora isn't actually the head, the master of ceremonies. There's someone behind her.
Ooh.
Because it seems like she doesn't know who all received her invitations or the past of those who received her invitations.
That is so good, because yes, we have had 2 surprise guests. That's very good. She's not actually the master of ceremonies, but there is some puppet master behind the scenes, controlling everything. Real quick, we're being raided by Oliver. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Wanted to give a quick shout out to you guys. Welcome. All right. And you know what? I'm gonna start one of my own. Because why not? I want to get in on the fun too. Oh, real quick, Vesper, would Oleander have a hand in the creation and or spreading of the rumor?
He would not create it, but he would definitely see the point in spreading it, but it would definitely be like, he'd be very lowbrow about it. Somehow. I don't know how, but he'd be lowbrow about it.
Okay.
Okay, witch sympathizer.
He'd indulge in the gossip, but not be like, I believe in this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, just to be clear, because, mind you, I am 110% here for a full-blown scandal. But, I want to be clear. Vesper, you do have the opportunity to wipe that rumor off the table about being a witch sympathizer. Is that something you are interested in? Or do you want to hang on to your narrative token for another use?
I will have it for another use.
All right. I love it. All right, that being said, my own rumor that I will be creating, a new one, is people have started to notice that Topaz and Gwyn are spending a fair amount of time together. They're not quite sure what that implies, but they're definitely noticing that they're acting very buddy-buddy, and so people are wondering if this is simply an alliance being formed, or something potentially more romantic. So, note that people are closely watching you two.
Okay.
All right. And that will do it for our very first official rumor phase. Thank you for the hot goss, everybody.
Maris, if you wouldn't mind, can you pin the rumors in the Discord?
Yeah.
For us to be able to reference to for future?
Yeah, let me write that real
Thank you,
quick.
big man.
So it could be you can do it whenever one of us is doing a letter
Letters.
if you
Okay,
want.
all right.
I just wanted to bring that to attention. That I think that's a good idea.
Yes, but to quickly summarize the rumors that are now in play, Oleander is a witch sympathizer. This is a full-blown scandal. There is also a rumor of whether or not Topaz is actually a Stoneheart, calling her lineage into question. There's a rumor that Parthenia has attempted to rig the trial, having needed to poison Oleander to get ahead. There's a rumor that Dame Leonora isn't actually the master of ceremonies because of all of the invitation mix-ups, and there is someone else behind her pulling the strings. And last but certainly not least, there is a rumor that Topaz and Gwyn are, enjoying each other's company in whatever way people interpret that. All right. And now we move on to our epistolatory phase, where we will be writing letters. Each player has the opportunity to write up to 2 letters to any PC or NPC of their choice, both in and out of Hollowlight Estate. Ares, I believe you volunteered to go first. And so I have a few replies for you. So how we will say in the timeline of this day, the trial has concluded. Everyone returns to Hollowlight Estate to rest and refresh themselves, because this happened in the morning. It was in the first half of the day, so taking the opportunity to rejuvenate yourselves in your bedrooms from the excitement of the morning's trial. So as you are in your room, which I presume you are in, but you are more than welcome to be anywhere else in Hollowlight Estate, a servant of the estate will approach you with a silver tray and 2 letters atop it, and hand them to you, say, the Morning Post, ma'am. And the first one on top is a very blank piece of paper that's been folded into an envelope. There is a light pink seal on it. Just a very plain wax seal, like someone, pressed a simple circle on it. There's no emblem. But the light pink you recognize as being from Lavinia. So as you crack that open, you see in her, she has a very, tight cursive script. It's, when you first look at it, it's kind of hard to, decipher her words. But it says, Lady Stalwix, you will be pleased to know that my 2 charges are doing well. Their education continues smoothly, with plenty of time allotted for rest and play. The elder seems to have developed an aversion to eating her vegetables, but we will work on that. As per your request, I will continue our daily correspondence. I wish you the greatest success in your endeavors at Hollowlight Estate. Perhaps you could send stories of your new adventures that I can relay to them. They are very anxious to hear from you. Kindest regards, Lavinia.
If she could, she'd be smiling.
And below the letter from Lavinia, there is another one in a neat blue envelope, pressed with a seal that you recognize from your own office, which would imply that this is your response from Bellamar, your assistant. He writes to you, Lady Stalwix, thank you for trusting your business with me in your absence. I assure you that while things are, as ever, busy, I have things well in hand. Should something go amiss, I will bring it to your attention post-haste. Sincerely, Bellamar. And beneath that page, you see another one. There's one right behind it. And it says, P.S. I have just been leafing through the archives to find a contract relevant to an ongoing case. That dreadful custody battle with the changeling child, hoping to find some precedent to refer to, when I happened upon something unusual. Some of the names on this contract have been smudged out, though I know that you and I have high clerical standards and would never make such trivial mistakes. I have sent it along with this letter for your consideration. Perhaps you can enlighten me. Bellamar. And underneath that, there is a contract. And sure enough, it looks like several names have been smudged out. But in giving it a once-over, you recognize this particular kind of form. This is a contract granting stewardship of a child to someone else. This is not uncommon in particularly Fae contracts, people offering their firstborn child for some sort of reward or some other clause. However, you notice the name of the child is familiar. It is now familiar, I should say. This contract is granting the stewardship of Damus to some now unknown person, as the name has been smudged out.
Interesting. That will have to be looked into.
Yes. So that is your response from Bellamar. Do you have any letters you wish to send out at this time?
So the first one is going to be a letter back to Lavinia. Just speaking in general terms, it's going to be a sort of storytelling rendition of the first first trial.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is to another player, and if it would be acceptable, I would like to send the letter to them and have them read it out in character.
I love that. Go for it.
Excellent. Sif, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay.
Damn it. A written note. Oh my god, my heart, my chest. Oh, it smells like Luella. Alright, let me read this. Oh my god, wait, Ares, can you put this in the Discord server afterwards? Because this is just really good. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead and read it aloud.
All right, I'll read it. Gwyn, should I speak like Luella for this?
I would say read it as Gwen, since you are reading it aloud to yourself. Yeah.
Damn. Gwyn, my most sincere thanks for your aid in the unicorn chase. I offer my deepest condolences that partial credit seems to be rewarded so marginally in regards to the results, though I suspect you not one to be seeking success in that matter. Please relay my condolences as well to your compatriot in the event, as they seem to be of ill spirits afterwards. Luella Stalwix.
Gwen, would you like to write a response, or is this something you would rather bring up in person later?
I I think Luella would be smart enough to know that I'm not one for particularly. This isn't something that I need to respond to, I feel like, with words. This is just a thank you. And Luella is smart enough to see what's going to happen with Parthenia in a bit, but I am simply going to send back one of my feathers to Luella.
Very nice gesture. So, Luella, in a prompt response, you do not receive a letter. However, a little brown feather in lieu of a letter, and you can probably surmise that Gwen has read and accepted your letter, but offers no immediate response.
It gets tucked in the satchel.
All right. Anything else, Luella?
Nope, that would be my 2 letters, I believe.
Very good. Very good. Who would like to go next?
I'll
All right.
go next. Oh,
Oh, no. You spoke a little louder. You go ahead, ma'am. I ladies first.
so for both of these letters, Topaz is not going to ask Lapis to listen.
Okay.
So-
Okay. Secret letters hidden away from your sister. Got it.
Yeah, so these are mostly secret letters. But the first one... Oh gosh, now I have to find my Topaz voice again. Maybe I do need Lapis to speak so I can find the voice again.
You don't have to use the Topaz voice. I didn't use my character voices when reading my letters.
Fair
so.
enough. I'll read it. I'll read it out of character voice for now. I was like, this is still an unknown voice for me. But either way, first letter is going to be to Essie.
Ooh, a letter for the star.
Mm-hmm. It just simply reads, Dear Essie, I do not know if this is improper to ask of you given the nature of this event, but I wanted to reach out to see if you had any time later this evening to have just a simple chat. I know that simple chats are often disguised as such to hide intentions, but I just have gathered a bit of a feeling from our talks that maybe something simple is what you would prefer. If what I've heard about stars is true, I think that we may have a lot in common in a love for the cultures and customs of not just our world, but the humans' world as well. If that's not true, I would be happy to just make a friend, if anything. One that I would love to talk to about books, plays, and so much more, long beyond this lavish and extravagant event. All the best, Topaz.
Very sweet. And how do you pass this letter along?
I imagine this is one she may take it directly to Essie's door, just to make sure. Because I think she's worried that someone will interrupt his letter.
So you go to Essie's door, and we'll say slip it under the door. You wait a little bit. You hear movement, the rustling of paper, and one of the pages of your letter. After a few moments, your letter is sent back to you. It's clear that it's been opened, and it says on the back of your page, Observatory, midnight.
Ooh. Sounds good. Yeah, that I don't know why that just got me a little fluster. I'm like, ooh.
All right. Anything else, Topaz?
Yes. And this one, I love being the drama. This one is going to be addressed to Captain Wild.
Uh-huh.
Captain Wild, the Sky Pirate.
Yeah.
Dear the bloodthirsty Captain Wild. What a surprise it was to see you in attendance at this not-so-humble event. It has been far too long since you and I have had the chance to gossip, and given that you are here, I would very much like the opportunity to do so, as well as chat about books and much more. I understand that your reputation is one that demands respect and its own measure of scandal, so please feel free to set the terms and arrangements to best preserve this. Lapis and I will both be looking forward to your response. Topaz Stoneheart.
Amazing. Amazing. So you send that letter out. Do you deliver this one personally as well, or do you hand this one off to a servant?
I hand this off to a servant.
Okay. So you send it off, and as the day progresses, you don't receive a response, Topaz.
Oh, fair enough.
All right, those are your 2 letters?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Not sending a letter back to Daddy Dearest. We know what's going on there.
All right. Who's next?
All right. I spoke up. I'll go ahead and do it.
Excellent.
This first letter, I think for the future, also because of Ares, I might be writing these out more. That sounds like fun. But this first letter is for Topaz. It's sent with a little token as well. I ad-lib these, apologies. Dear Topaz, I have many words to describe your actions in the last trial, but all of them come from a place of twisted and strange pride. I'm glad to see you've taken initiative, but don't forget the other aspects of that teaching you seek. Temper your expectations and stick by whoever's side is the safest for you. Looking forward to seeing your performance in the next trials, Gwyn. And attached is another charm. This time it is a small little pouch of unicorn hair that Gwyn just, a little silly plucked from the unicorn while Luella was on it, and we were handing it back to Dame Leonora.
Very good. Topaz, you receive this very amiable, very friendly letter and a piece of the unicorn hair.
Oh gosh. Upon receiving a letter, I imagine Lapis has noticed this.
Very much so. She has noticed you have been writing secret letters all day, all afternoon, and she's not saying anything, but she is like eagle-eyed watching you.
Okay, I imagine Topaz will just kind of speak out and just be like, "Oh god, it's another from Gwyn."
And
what?
what do you mean? And what does he say?
He basically said that. Well, he told me good work on the trial, and that he gave me some unicorn hair, and that I should do my best to work with others a bit more than I had in the trial.
He gave you a piece of the unicorn hair.
Yes, it's right here.
That's so romantic.
Is it?
Well, surely it's got to be a sweet gesture of some kind. I mean, plucking a lock of unicorn hair, I mean, it's super rare, isn't it? It's got to be special.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
What are you going to
it
do?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I was just about to say that, like, this whole situation is kind of like, I don't know. It sounded more friendly than anything. And I mean, friendly's good.
Friendly's good, but this man's giving you 2 tokens.
Oh, oh. I feel a bit queasy, if anything.
No, don't worry. This is good. This is really good.
What if people think I'm like playing 2 games here?
Like no one else is.
Fair enough.
You think I'm here to win the heart of a star?
No, I know you're not.
No,
Let's be honest. It's quite obvious.
I'll have you know, I've been schmoozing it up with Cordelia Lockhart all morning. Her and her aunt both.
How's that going?
She gives a really smug look.
Oh, okay.
I mean, mind you, I'd be perfectly happy if Cordelia, offered me her affections, but really, it's her aunt that I've got my eye on. She's the one with the money.
I was about to say, she's got more money, don't she?
Mm.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm going to, respond to this letter.
What are you going to say?
Oh, God, I don't know. Just,
And what
dear
were you
Gwyn.
writing earlier, might I ask?
It's none of your business.
What? None of my business? I'm your sister.
Well,
Who are you writing secret letters to?
they're not secret letters. It's
Then
just-
you can tell me.
Oh, fair enough. They were letters to Captain Wild and to Essie.
Her ears flick back and twitch in annoyance.
What? It's not that bad.
You wrote a letter to Captain Wild?
I let him make the arrangements. I just wanted to talk to him. It's been a while, you know?
Oh my god, Topaz.
Well,
Topaz, we can't be seen talking to him.
I mean, we could talk to him in the first place. Doesn't have to mean anything.
No, Topaz, this is so bad.
Oh.
If people see us talking to him, it means that they know that we know him.
Should I rescind the letter then?
Did you already send it?
Well, yeah, I already sent it.
Oh, it's too late
I
now,
thought it'd be
isn't it?
I thought it'd be a nice surprise, considering how he's been so close to our family for
Yes,
decades.
secretly.
Secretly, I know. Okay. Maybe I didn't take that too seriously.
Has he responded?
No.
Oh, thank God. All right. Maybe he has enough brains to not reply.
I kind of resent that comment, but
All
I mean,
right.
you know, last time he came, he gave me Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen.
Mm-hmm.
And you know I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wanted somebody to bounce theories and headcanons and such off of. It was just very exciting.
Topaz.
Ugh.
I get it, but you know how business is. Dad's gonna kill you already. Now you're doing this.
Well, now I feel like a right fool.
Maybe he won't find out. Like I said, maybe he won't even reply. No one will know.
Hmm. But yeah.
So you're going to write your Road to the Star as well.
Mm-hmm.
Awfully forward of you.
Well, I just kind of wanted to get to know him a bit more.
you get a reply back?
I did.
Her ears perk back up.
He said observatory midnight. So I got like a date or something. See, I'm not half bad at this when it doesn't come to ruining my family business.
Okay, put aside all thoughts of Captain Wild, I beg of you, because you could talk to Gwyn, you could talk to the Star. Topaz, keep playing those cards.
Okay, I'll drop the whole captain thing. It's
all right. Now, what are you
I
going to say to
suppose
Gwyn?
I think going to thank him for the unicorn hair and promise him that I'm gonna weave it into an outfit that I'll wear when we next meet after the trial.
Mm-hmm.
After all, I can't just let this go to waste, you know, it's very valuable.
Of course not.
And that perhaps I got a bit too ahead of myself in the trial, and that I'll stick closer by to him in the future.
Stick closer by. I gotcha.
I'm also just meant as just, accomplices, but I suppose it does go both ways.
Sure.
It goes both ways.
I'm sure it does.
I'm learning between this and all the books I've read. I'm learning. I mean, to be fair, I know you haven't had the chance to read it, but Darcy basically told the person he ended up being with that he could not be labor. I'll shut up. And they go and write the letter. Just send it off.
All right, so Gwyn, you get this very amiable response from Topaz from your letter.
I sure am glad to have maintained another alliance and friendship. Nothing. That's it.
All right, I know I kind of hijacked that away from you, Sif, but
you're good. We had fun.
I think you have one more letter to send.
I do. I have one more to Parthenia. Dear Parthenia, and it's been some time since the trial. Is it still same day when we're setting these up?
It is still the same day, yes.
But those rumors we talked about, they've spread, right?
They have started circulating, indeed.
Dear Parthenia, I hope a woman of your talents can recognize your true value and the fact that people, the ones that do matter, will in turn recognize it, regardless of what people say or think. Or whatever, however insignificant the partial credit you and I received, putting us together. That's out of character. Regardless, I look forward to working alongside with you and others in future trials. People that will have a chance in this competition.
Very good.
And then Gwyn, and then Feather attached.
Excellent. A token as well. I will say you send that letter out, and you do not immediately receive any kind of response from Parthenia. Any kind of written response. Last up, we've got Oleander. Oleander, you are approached by a serv. Or actually, before I get to you, Oleander, I forgot.
Oh.
There is a letter for Gwyn.
Aw.
Gwyn, you receive a knock at your door. A servant is there awaiting you with a letter on a tray. And it is a black envelope with a golden seal. The emblem is a lightning bolt.
Uh-huh.
And as you crack into it, you see in very curly, dramatic script, "My good captain, and Captain has been crossed out. Sir Gwyn. What good fortune that we should finally find ourselves under the same roof. I've been meaning to congratulate you for your success in restoring the peace in Wishbourne. Truly a Herculean effort that has no doubt yielded great rewards. And it is thanks to your triumphs that I find myself with the most capable first mate that a captain could ever require. I wish to thank you personally, sir. Perhaps one night you could join me for drinks after dinner. At your earliest convenience, of course. Ever at your service. Captain Ignatius Wilde.
Gwyn is reading this letter, and it's like he's doing the privacy of his room, and his face is incredibly just like if this was in a show, you wouldn't be able to see his eyes, like pitch black shadow. He is going to write a letter back quickly.
Excellent.
To summarize this. I appreciate you keeping such a close eye on such talent for me, Captain Wilde. If you wish to discuss this over drinks, you'd have to understand my trepidation in doing so, given your history. Perhaps we can share our histories alongside with some of the other compatriots we've made alliances with here at these trials. Say, I may invite a few of my own comrades, such as Topaz, or Luella, Parthenia, etc. Make it more of a group event. Should this not strike your fancy, we can merely coordinate another time to drink together. And then I'm gonna write Gwyn, but then like out of sheer anger, the feather's gonna snap, and there's gonna be like a massive ink splotch right under the end of Gwyn.
Amazing.
He's not gonna fix it. He's gonna put it in the letter and like no feather.
Amazing. So you send out that letter, and you don't immediately receive a response from that one either. One can imagine Captain Wilde is planning his next move in because of your response. So, but who's to say you won't get a response at a later time? We now move to Oleander. Oleander, you get a knock on your door. There is a well-dressed servant there, silver tray, and you have a pile of 3 letters waiting for you. You sent out a couple of letters to outside the estate in the last session, so here are your replies. So, first one, being marked with an emblem of the university from which you studied, and you can assume that this is your reply from Mezathine. And It reads as follows. I apologize, this one is the longest letter thus far, but you asked for lore, and lore I shall give. So it says, My dear Oleander, only you would be invited to something as prestigious as the Trial of Hearts, and would rather make himself busy with research. I will provide the answers you seek if you make a promise to me to try and enjoy yourself. I know as much about the Celestial Court as any. Though I've had some intimate dealings with them in the past, they keep their secrets very close to their inner circles, ones that I was not privy to. It is, of course, their sole purpose to protect the stars. Stars used to fall more frequently, but ever since the tragedy involving Cassini the Deceiver, the heavens are more reluctant to permit their children to descend to Earth. I'm sure the privilege of being included in such a historic event has not escaped your notice. The Empress Themis and her graces command the Celestial Court. While the Graces handle the more earthly matters, the Empress concerns herself with the heavens and communes with them to relay their intentions to mortal beings. Dame Leonora has the distinct privilege of acting as the Empress's right hand. She has proven herself a valuable asset to the Celestial Court through her many great deeds in protecting the peace in Wishbourne. She has worked closely with both the court and King Bastian and earned hard-won trust on both fronts, though admittedly she has been absent from the capital for some time, perhaps to prepare for the trials. Effectively, Dame Leonora represents the will of the court, and I strongly suggest that you don't offend her. It is strange that you would inquire about Cassian. Many people simply assume that he is dead. He was considered a great sage in his time, a master craftsman in the alchemical arts. There was a time when he resided at the capital under the service of the king, and though the years start to blend, I believe that he was last seen at least 100 years ago. His lineage was unclear, as he was a bit of a hermit and seldom interacted with much of the world. I suppose it is possible that he could have been of elven descent or some other long-lived race, and therefore still alive, simply hiding himself away. But it could also be easy for a skilled charlatan to pass themselves off as the great sage, so I hope this man Damus has not fallen victim to any such schemes. I can tell you I've never heard of Damus myself, but perhaps others have. I would offer to keep an ear out for you, but then you would never pay attention to what's happening around you at Hollowlight Estate. Curiosity is well and fine, but sometimes things are not nearly as complicated as they seem. For once, get your nose out of your books, Oleander, and take this opportunity to engage with the present. Mezzanine.
She has never changed. I will write a simple thank you, also littered with friendly vitriol, back.
It's tough love. It's tough love. So yes, that is her response to you. There is your lore dump. And the next one, plain letter, folded into an envelope, no seal, very similar to the one that you received last session. You can assume this is from your father. This one says, "My son, the family is well. Elle keeps us on our toes, and will be glad to see you again. No mysterious health ailments. P reports that despite unexpected company at the estate, all is well. The dame rubs everyone the wrong way. She is young, ambitious, and had to make both friends and enemies to get where she is today. The court is full of secrets, and I'm willing to bet she knows many of them. Even so, I don't think she's responsible for choosing the trial participants. That's too much power for one person, particularly a mortal. The selection process is one of the court's many secrets, but I suspect it's a collective decision of the Graces, or left entirely up to the Empress. If you are there, it must be for a reason. The court likes to think they have a tight grip of control, but fate has a funny way of rearing its head. Stay safe. I know you have a knack for finding trouble. A." And last...
I will not write a letter back.
All right. And last, your third and final letter on this little pile is similarly a very plain, rough parchment. One might assume it's even handmade, a handmade piece of paper. It is sealed with a blob of wax over a sprig of spruce. And as you crack it open, it says, "Dear Oleander, now that I've had some time to recover from this morning's excitement, I wanted to properly thank you for your assistance during the first trial. While we may not have won, I was much closer to success than I ever anticipated thanks to you. Should you ever need my help again, I am happy to oblige. If I could be so bold, I would like us to be friends, if possible. Sincerely yours, Damus.
Ooh. I will write a letter back to that. Oleander will smile. His ears will wiggle a little, and he'll be like, okay. I might not know everything, but I'm on my way. And he will write down, Dear Damus, I apologize for scaring you with my tactics. I assure you that this is within my... what I did was within my skill set. And you should not be worried about my physical status. And I would love to continue to even just speak with you and befriend you. And I will tell you more about how I was able to do that at a later time, maybe next time we see each other. Sincerely, Oleander.
Delightful. Delightful. And is that everything from you, Oleander?
Yes.
All right. That, I believe, concludes our epistolary phase. There was a lot to get through this time, I apologize, but some of you had some letters you sent out last session that only just arrived this session. So, with that, we will move to the events of the afternoon. And I believe we'll kick things off with Topaz. Topaz, as you are talking to Lapis, we'll sort of pick up where we left off. You have sent off your letter to Gwyn, and you're talking about, you know, your secret letters to Wild and to Essie, and as the two of you, you know, continue to converse, there's a knock at your door. Another one.
Should I suppose I should get that.
You expecting more letters?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm expecting at this point. I seem to have done a shoddy job in writing a letter to Wild.
Maybe it's Cordelia! And Lapis gets really excited, and she actually goes to open the door, and who does she find but Captain Wild? He gives a big smile, starts to give a nice polite bow, and she promptly shuts the door in his face. What did you do?
What do you mean, what did I do? I gave him the opportunity to set the terms.
Well, he said
didn't respond to me.
He just showed up at your room.
But he's out there right now. You think that's going to be good for us either way? The longer he's out there, the longer he's not in here, and the longer he's in sight. Let him in. He's here.
My God. She opens the door again, and he does not look perturbed by this at all. If anything, he looks quite amused. Just quite the welcome, Miss Stoneheart. And she goes, shh, and ushers him in, and she pokes her head outside into the hallway, looks both ways, makes sure there's no one there, and shuts the door. Oh my gosh, you can't be here! I'll have you know. And he lifts up Topaz's letter. I was invited.
Just to be clear, to kind of talk through it, I did say that that he could set the terms and arrangements to preserve the relationships that do exist.
Oh, please. You sound like your father. Please, please, ladies, sit down, sit down. Would it, and he looks to Lapis, would it at all remedy the situation if I said I had presents for you? And her eyes start to sparkle, but she still has that very stubborn pout on her face. She's like, maybe. Depends on what you're offering. And he has a bag in his hand, like a nice parceled bag, and pulls out a box and hands it to Lapis. And he says, for you, my dear, I bring you the finest silk hair ribbons. I'm told they are quite the fashion statement in England these days. And she opens it up, and it's like these ribbons of like beautiful, like sari silk. And she looks, the pout is gone, the eye sparkles multiply, and she shuts the box and goes, right. It'll do, I suppose. And he looks very pleased with himself. He's used to her antics. And he pulls out a wrapped parcel, one might say of book size, and hands it to you, Topaz. And he says, I know how much you enjoyed the last one, so I think you will appreciate this.
You can see Topaz just kind of is like very excited. She has an idea of what it might be, but is just like kind of vibrating with herself and just like, thank you. And she'll open it up really quickly just to see what it is.
It is a cloth-bound copy. It's not fancy, mind you. It's not like a nice leather-bound copy. It's a cloth-bound copy of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility.
Oh, part of the reason I wanted you to come here is because I wanted to talk about the other one, but I think,
And I would be happy to converse, my dear. I would also appreciate your insights onto this one as well. I've been scouring the market at the wall for it.
Well, naturally. Maybe, I don't think I'll be finishing it here, considering we got a lot of things going on, but, by all means, but whenever I get home, this will be the first thing I do is sit and read through the whole thing, and maybe like one night, if anything.
He has a big grin on his face, and he strides over to one of the chairs by the fireplace in your room, motions for the two of you to sit down as well. But Lapis has made herself very comfortable at the vanity doing her hair with the new hair ribbons. Any animosity that she previously had for Captain Wild seems to have faded with material items. So...
We love a
great
material
DM.
girl.
Yes.
May I request a monologue?
Oh?
From whom?
The captain.
Ooh!
From the captain.
I love
We all have
that.
these monologue. We all have these narrative tokens as well,
We
right?
do. We have one per session for each of you. So whenever a monologue token is activated, that person has another character give their innermost thoughts aloud. So this is a peek into their mind. The characters cannot react to this information because they don't know it. This is a glimpse into the mind of these characters. So with the captain, at this point, he is thinking to himself, how pleased he is that his gifts were well received, and he's concerned that the Stoneheart's presence throws a wrench into his plans. However, it's not an unwelcomed distraction, and he's quite fond of the Stoneheart family, and finds himself... how do I describe this? Finds himself particularly enjoying the company of Topaz.
Clap, 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 clap. Clap.
So, he gestures for you, Topaz, to sit across from him at the fireplace, and he makes himself very comfortable, sitting in the armchair, crossing his legs, and just... So, you wish to talk?
I mean, yeah, I suppose that I kind of just wanted to... Well, I mean, it's a whole big old question that you, seem to be here at the trial. I'm surprised you're showing your face in public, given that, well, being a wanted criminal and everything. But...
Oh, please. You think your father's the only nobleman I work for.
Oh. You know, fair enough. But... What... we can get into the business side of this kind of thing later. I really just wanted to talk to you about your last trip across the wall. What are the fashions over there? Is there anything that... Any new sort of fabrics or anything that I might be able to take a look at for inspiration going into the future?
Yes, I see. I think you'll be rather disappointed, I'm afraid. The women dress well, mind you. They're wearing quite form-fitted silhouettes these days. Empire waists, short sleeves, straight skirt hems, and I mean, but it's all very minimalistic these days. The high quality is shown through the fabrics themselves, not through any elaborate design work. It's not at all like it was in the Rococo area. It's just... However, they do have rather excellent accessories, as your sister now knows.
I do expect something like that myself whenever you come back next time.
Duly
noted. It is gorgeous.
Duly noted, my dear. I will fit you the finest silk ribbons of iridescent fabrics.
Be much obliged, Captain.
Oh, and the men, they dress so plain. They've long since abandoned the fashions of dandyism, and now it's all black and all navy, and everyone wears the same cut.
No greatcoats?
Oh, the greatcoats are still in fashion and seasonally appropriate, but for the actual jackets and waistcoats and breeches, they all look the same. It's really quite the shame, I tell you.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be taking much inspiration out of the men's fashion at the very least. I'm interested a bit in what you're describing for the women, but men's fashion.
Topaz, my darling, you would set the human world aflame with your designs and your inspirations. I've no doubt you would take them by storm.
She does like a little hair flip. She says, I mean, even this world isn't exactly ready for what I've got.
Maybe it's time to conquer a new one.
What? Do you mean go into the human world?
He gives a little nonchalant shrug, and he goes, well, I'm sure your father would have a thing or two to say about that, but...
Oh, I'm sure he would. But I also think he's got a lot to say about, well, me being here in the first place.
I was rather surprised to receive your letter.
Yeah, I mean, both myself and Lapis definitely well, you can keep secrets, and I'm sure you're gathering and surmising all this anyways. We definitely grabbed an unwanted letter from back home and utilized it for our own benefit.
His eyes kind of light up a little bit, and his brows arch higher on his forehead. He goes, Mick Stoneheart, you've become quite the rebel.
I mean, I really just wanted to show off my fashion, if anything. It's not like Dad really lets me do anything of what I want back home. Stone's Throw is kind of just a little bit of a quiet and boring town that happens to have one of the most dense population of gemstones in the entire world. Don't want to exactly stay there. Neither does Topaz, you know that though. She's made it quite obvious many times.
He looks over to Lapis, who's adding the final touches to her hair and preening in front of the mirror. And he goes, Have you found yourself a rich matron yet, my darling? And she looks over, gives a little smug look as she puffs up her little afro puffs and just goes, I should think so. At least by the time the trials are done, if I've anything to say about it. He gives a laugh. Oh, yes, that's my cutthroat girl there. Now as for you, Topaz.
Of course.
You're wanting to advertise your fashions to these people?
I believe that kind of was the idea. It's just, well, I kind of didn't account for Essie not being able to wear them. My goal was to get him to wear them.
Ah.
But, so I think I've just kind of taken a bit of a more,
it might be it might be mistaken for a favor.
Right. It's...
See. But
So, what...
There are certainly other people, though. All kinds of nobles and merchants and politicians and hell, even the prince and princess are here.
Are you trying to get me to say something about who I've been hanging out with?
Why, are you causing problems, Mixed Topaz?
I don't think I'm causing problems, but I'm certainly not causing, nothing.
Forged new alliances, have we?
As someone that has their ear to the ground at all times, I'm sure you've heard the rumor spreading about myself. Well, the multiple ones now.
I heard a rather curious one, I will admit. I must say I didn't give it much credit, but do you mean to tell me that there's some basis to this rumor of you and Sir Gwyn? Lapis looks over again. She's got 2 tokens of affection from him.
Topaz was
2?
trying to be, like, downplay it, but then Lapis says that, and she just blushes. Like, pretty red.
I see. Making the most of your excursion at a stone's throw, you most certainly are.
I mean, I didn't even really try for it. It just kind of happened.
He just gives a bit of a smug smile and just leans back in his chair and he goes, My darling, with your particular set of charms, I'm not at all surprised.
I don't have much in the way of charms. Don't you play me for a fool like that.
Never.
The first night, the first thing I tried to do was walk over sexily to someone, and I fell straight on my face. And since then, well, everybody's just wanted to either educate me or take me under their wing, both metaphorically and just figuratively, I suppose.
He laughs and he shakes his head and he says, Topaz, if it's one piece of advice that I can offer you, and do with it as you will, you don't need to listen to these people. In fact, I would beg of you to remain true to your own sensibilities.
Oh. I think I've been a bit scared too. The prince and princess and...
Perfect pair of brats, aren't they?
Indeed. But I just didn't make the best first impression with them, and it felt like I was playing the wrong game by being myself.
And is that how you captured Sir Gwyn's attention? By being yourself, or an altered version of yourself?
I was about to say I don't know, but I don't know what I did, but I think the truth is that it was about being myself.
I see. That's good then. It means that he has some appreciation for you. Truly you.
I feel like I don't really know anything about him, though. Keeps his cards so close to the table. He's helped me, yes. Maybe it's just a bit of a crush or something, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about who he is, what he does, and even particularly what his feelings are for me. I think they're good, given the tokens, but...
I don't know how much assistance my insight is going to be about Sir Gwyn. I've never interacted with the man myself. Goodness knows there are plenty of rumors surrounding him, though. A mysterious man like him, beautiful as he is strong, people like to talk. But if I may say so, and I hope it doesn't hurt your feelings to hear this, but I would practice a touch of caution with Sir Gwyn. As you say, he keeps things very close to his chest. So for him to be showing any amount of affection so soon after knowing you, I fear it might be a gambit, or a ploy of some kind. And I would rather not see your feelings hurt, my dear.
You can see Topaz's kind of playful expressions as she's talked through, Gwyn and everything, kind of like damper a bit. I know that high society is a bit cutthroat, and that people will do anything to get anything. So that's not lost on me.
If you like. No, go ahead.
But just like you're telling me to believe in myself, I don't know. Even if this was a gambit, there's nothing to gain from me. It's not like I'm not part of the family business or nothing. Just a spoiled rich kid that just is trying to make his way in the world.
If you like, we can ask the man himself.
What?
And he reaches into one of his breast pockets on his coat and lifts out the letter that Gwyn had wrote him earlier. Just I myself have been in contact with the man. I put forth a very amiable invitation to have drinks with me in the evening, and, well, he seemed to take it as, well, a kind of a threat, almost. He wants a second for each person, at least, rather like we're going to a duel rather than drinks, so perhaps you might be interested in being my second, my dear.
What? Oh, but what that... I don't know if I should do that because of our family relation. Uh, can I think on it at least?
Of course.
If he seems to have been offended, I don't want to offend him back.
If it makes your decision any easier, he did mention you by name as a potential mutual companion for this social gathering.
He did.
That he did.
I'm all mixed up.
Well,
I feel like I'm not sure if I'm talking to Mr. Wickham or something of the sort. It's all confusing.
never fear, my dear. Should there be any Wickhams in your personal life, I shall quickly escort them out. And he will rise from the chair and just say, now, if you'll excuse me, I have things to attend to. But I leave you in very good hands, and he nods over to Lapis. I thank you for your conversation.
Thank you for coming by. I know it wasn't the best decision, but it does put my mind a little bit at ease to just even have the chance. Lapis, you know a little bit of spellcasting, don't you?
Aye.
Do you know any ways to make our good captain invisible on the way back, maybe?
He's got to be willing for it. And the captain gives a cheeky smile and he goes, my darlings, I would never seek to damage your reputations, please, by all means. And she goes, yeah, and she'll cast invisibility on him. He disappears from vision, but you do see the door open and shut.
That wasn't too bad, right?
No, I don't think it was. There wasn't anyone in the hallway. The absolute cheek of the man.
If Father does hear this, you can just blame it on me.
Oh, I plan to.
Ever the comfort and presence, aren't you, Lapis?
She gives a smile and a little twirl in front of her mirror. Very unbothered.
You can end the scene there.
All right. With that, we are going to pan to another player. Luella, I believe you had something you wanted to do this afternoon?
Indeed. I wanted to see about acquiring a chat with Dame Leonora.
Very good. So you can find Dame Leonora actually outside on the grounds because somehow all of the horses broke loose out of the stables. So she's kind of working with a lot of the stable hands, trying to, catch them and lead them back to the stable. So you can find her outside tending to the horses that have since been caught.
Luella will wait for a lull in the getting everything sorted before approaching.
You see her,
You know,
reaching up to, stroke the flank of one of the horses. She's a halfling. She's not very tall. But she notices your approach. She goes, "Ah, Miss Stalwix. What can I do for you?"
I wondered if I could steal you for a bit of a chat.
Oh, certainly, certainly. And she'll give a nod to the other stable hands who seem to have the situation under control. And she'll dust her hands off and wipe some of the dust from her trousers and says, "Please, take a turn with me in the gardens." And she'll lead you around the estate, the house, and there's a kind of like not like a hedge maze, it's not a maze, but just like, walls of topiaries and which are largely dead because it's winter. But it's a nice scenic walk nonetheless. A light snow is starting to fall. Now then, what would you like to speak about?
A few mild curiosities. Firstly, are you one to usually get your hands dirty with such things?
She gives a...
Gesturing at the stables.
Yeah, she gives a bit of a sheepish look at that. She goes, "Well, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself sometimes." And she looks back to the estate and then back to you and goes, "And between you and me, given everything that's happened today, I could have used a bit of fresh air."
Luella nods, understanding and approvingly. Furthermore, I wanted to ask as to what happened to the unicorn after the trial.
"Oh, you needn't worry about that, Miss Stalwix. Just as we procured the unicorn, it will be set free where we found it. No harm done, I assure you."
Excellent. And finally, might I ask, was it you who volunteered your home to be a venue for this event, or... Trails off.
She kind of tilts her head at that question. She goes, "Why, no. No, I did not volunteer it. I was graciously given this estate by the Empress, and when the star fell, the Empress decided that this was where the trials would be held. So knowing that my home was the venue of choice, I got to work straight away on making the arrangements."
Sounds like quite an honor and perhaps a bit of trouble.
She beams at that like probably the first genuine smile you've seen on this woman's face since you've arrived. And just, it was. It is an honor that, well, I am very happy to enact the Empress's will.
And if I may say, from the perspective of a participant, enact it well you have.
Thank you. I deeply appreciate that, considering she sort of lifts her hand in a vague gesture. The surprises that have occurred. I certainly hope it doesn't dampen your experience.
Oh, my experience has been nothing but enjoyable so far.
I'm relieved to hear you say so. I can't imagine what some of the others might be thinking by... Ugh, that absolute ruffian being under my roof.
I think that those who are worth their metal would think that you are handling it rather well, given nothing too absurd has happened.
No, nothing absurd, yet. Though I'm almost tempted to let him do something absurd so that I can get rid of him promptly.
Oh, well, perhaps that would make my time easier. I don't think that he will be so... thick-headed as to do something that would get him removed. After all, he did get an invitation by some means.
She kind of rolls her eyes at that, just, yes, I suppose he did, didn't he? Ugh, I'll have to check my records to see who he pilfered it from.
If I can be of any help in that regard, I do have, well, I'm sure you know of my staff.
Oh, I appreciate your offer, Miss Stalwix. However, I'm sure you can imagine the guest list is strictly confidential.
Of course. But the offer of help still remains.
The gesture's appreciated. She gives a very polite nod of her head. I must say, I was rather impressed by your showing at the trials. Granted, I must remain a impartial observer, but I wanted to congratulate you nonetheless.
I thank you. Though I think that it could have been won by anybody.
Indeed.
Luck was perchance on my side.
I don't think luck will be of much use to anyone in these trials, Miss Stalwix. Skill, however, will be of utmost importance. I wouldn't trust anyone with Essie based on pure luck.
Wise and interesting. I would much like to talk to you some more, but I do not want to keep you from, would be assured, your long list of duties. So, if you should need a moment of reprieve from them, I would be glad to be your excuse.
She gives a warm smile at that and another polite bow and just, thank you. I'm sure you can imagine my duties regarding the trial keep me quite preoccupied. But I am grateful for the conversation and your company, Miss Stalwix.
And I yours. She bows and starts heading off.
All right. Dame Leonora will also give you a bow before retreating back to the estate. As you said, presumably to tackle a very long list of things to do that day. Next up, we're gonna go to Oleander. Oleander.
Yes.
What are you up to this afternoon?
since the uh, actually, we will do the research right now.
Excellent.
But
I love that even though your professor is like, get your nose out of the books, you're like, haha, Lamau goes to the library. I love that for you. So yes, we will go to the library. And
but
yes, go ahead.
he will invite Damus if he wishes.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah. If you bump into Damus, and invite him to go to the library with you, he would be all too happy, to accompany you. So the two of you will go to, the library, and I believe you had some topics that you wish to research, but for our audience's sake, what would you like to look into?
Okay, so the first topic was Oleander would like to see if there's any way to trace Cassini back to the royal family. That's the bad sage. That's the evil guy.
Correct.
And he wants to see if there's any outcasts from the royal family itself, like to see where the family tree was sheared, so to say.
Gotcha. Are you researching both of these, or do you want to pass one of them along to Damus?
I will let Damus decide what he wants to research, since I invited him. He can do whatever he wants while I do what I do.
Sure. I think, Damus admittedly looks a little uncomfortable, at the prospect of digging into potential dirt on the royal family. So he is going to look into the matter with Cassini, and start pulling out some tomes, some history books, some ancient history books. Which means that you will be researching the royal family. So I'm not going to make you roll for this, because this is a pretty extensive library, and if you spend enough time in here, you'll sort of find some information that you're looking for. Regarding the royal family, you find some old tomes of like family trees and branches and descriptors of the line going back into history, the ancestral royal line. And it is said that the royal family, there are descendants of an ancient kingdom. Their beginnings were humble, starting with a human commoner and a star. The ancient king was the first to claim the heart of a star through non-violent means. And it was realized that rather than eating the heart of a star, like carving it out and eating the organ, a star could willingly, metaphorically offer their heart as an act of love, granting the coveted boon of immortality. This revelation was quite literally life-changing, as star hunting was not exclusive to the practice of witchcraft, though witches bore the brunt of future retaliation for their brutality. As you're looking into the different people on the family tree, the royal family seems to have been pretty blessedly free of black sheep. However, King Bastion, the current king, his father, King Marius, he was a very laissez-faire ruler, and he was decidedly very unpopular because of it. He rarely made public appearances. He took to holding himself away in the palace. So because of this was very much a time of border disputes, a rise in witchcraft, policy concerns with the wall, which the wall being the portal to the human realm, which had been open for centuries until Marius decided to close that border to the human realm. It's also noted that Marius also did not marry until much later in life, and his wife, Poppaea, ended up dying in childbirth, giving birth to Bastian, the current king. After a little bit more digging into more current affairs, you do find the birth records of the prince and princess, Alto and Adora. It is recorded that they were born as tieflings, and this is not news. This has been a topic of gossip for several years now. King Bastian and Queen Calpurnia have dismissed any talk of adultery or dark magic, and they've claimed that their bloodlines have connections to both the divine and the infernal. So having tiefling children was not, out of the realm of impossibility. However, as you've been reading this family tree record for, the past couple hours, you admittedly don't find any immediate connections to claims of these infernal bloodlines.
No claims, huh?
And Damus is poring over his own tomes. He's looking into, those old cobwebby records and, kind of leather-bound storybooks. Because I've mentioned before, Cassini was a real person, but he's kind of like a boogeyman right now. Kind of faded into the realms of villainous obscurity. So he comes back to you, and reports his findings, and Cassini's history, and regarding the Celestial Court. Many of those in the Celestial Court do have professional ties to the royal family, as they are often notable people like ambassadors, soldiers, advisors, and other such trustworthy figures. And so before he was permitted into the Celestial Court, Cassini was reportedly a royal astronomer. He deciphered the heavens for portents and signs. This was initially a point of contention between him and the court, as only Empress Themis can understand the heavens. But it seems his skills were not to be discredited, and therefore he was asked to join the Celestial Court. That is really the only recorded connection that he has to the royal family, and it's not a particularly uncommon one either. He worked in the palace, his efforts were recognized, and he joined the Celestial Court.
Okay. I'll thank Damus for his time, but I'll also ask him. So, you're probably wanting to know how I just drank poison, right?
I was a little curious. I didn't want to pry. I was concerned when you told me it was poison and you just drank it like it was nothing.
First, I would like to apologize that we did not win. I was not expecting for the unicorn to just teleport me away. That was not in my plans.
I was rather surprised too when suddenly I just hit the ground and was no longer on a unicorn, and I was by myself. Well, actually, I wasn't by myself. I was with that one furbolg, although they seemed to be in pretty rough condition too.
First off, I kind of look around. Is there anyone else in the library besides us?
No, there is not. It is just the two of you.
Hey, DM, I have a question. Can I DM you something real quick?
Yeah. But yeah, no, there is no one but you.
Okay, well, I'll lean in for a little whisper, I'm assuming we're at a table, so I lean over and I ask, have you heard of the character the Princess of Poison.
The Princess of Poison. No, I don't think I have.
Insight check.
You are welcome to roll insight.
18.
Let me make my roll real quick. Okay. From his expression, he seems genuine. That he doesn't know who you're speaking of.
I guess you might be more of a hermit, though I suppose the princess herself isn't really well known outside of certain circles. Just be assured that knowing her, that she is a wonderful person, no doubt, but you don't get to know her without endangering yourself a little.
I see. And thus you acquired similar skills.
I would not say I have a resistance, but it doesn't scare me to do these kinds of things.
He gives a little awkward smile and just says, I think that a very lucky ability that you have. It would certainly save me a lot of trouble if I was able to just resist the effects of my poorly crafted concoctions.
It's not the effects that I resist, but more the fear, so to say.
I wanted to ask, Oleander, if you don't mind my asking, of course. I'm glad to help you, as I said, in any way that I can. But why is it that you are researching such things while you're here? Why look into the royal family? And this evil sage?
Well, there seems to have been... I was at an archaeological dig when I received my invitation. And there has just been some findings that are making... Well, I had to come immediately to the trials before I could even really do any personal research. So it's more of, this is just happening to interfere with my discovery. It's more of coincidence that I kind of wish did not happen, but here I am.
Coincidence, you say, but I had the impression that the Celestial Court plans everything, right? I mean, that's why we're all here.
Well, I'm not sure why they would have a little old archaeologist here. I have someone of no standing like me. Though many people might say they might not have standing here.
Surely it's because you must be very, very wise, very smart, very determined. in your pursuits for knowledge and excellence. I mean, everyone here is here because they deserve it.
I'd say I get myself more in trouble with the royal family with my continued searching for the truth. I would say that I've had some denouncers within nobility itself, even though...
Is this because of you being a witch sympathizer?
I wouldn't say I'm a sympathizer. Those are just scandals, words that unfortunately have too much power.
I mean, I didn't
Lies.
mean any offense, of course, Oleander. I mean, you don't strike me as someone who would ally himself with witches. You've been nothing if not kind to me. People talk.
Well, if you want the truth, I ally myself with the truth, and sometimes the truth is a bit too ugly for some people. You must understand. And these nobles really don't like their ugly thing.
And you think something's going on with the royal family?
I think there's something very ugly somewhere here, and it's related to the royal family.
I see. I mean, everyone has their secrets, I presume, and I mean, people talk. I mean, with the prince and princess, but you're suggesting there's something more to it?
Can I monologue token on Damus?
Ooh, okay.
Keep yapping, DM.
Damus.
Do you need anything else, or are you good?
No.
Okay.
Damus at this time, if you could see into his brain, it is a tumultuous mix of anxiety and, I would say, intrigue. He's very curious about what Oleander's talking about. But he's really nervous about the ramifications of digging too deep. And he really, really wants to trust Oleander. But now he's a little nervous too.
Oleander kind of just gives this smile, and he's like, I really don't want to burden with you with this, Damus, as I get the sense you're a little bit out of your element already.
His hands are kind of like shaking. He's like, what do you mean?
I mean that.
No.
But I don't want you... I don't want to worry you about these things. They're... As much as I have an incredible distaste for Parthenia, because of that distaste is why I think maybe if I had to drag anyone else into this, it'd be her, because she's also within this realm I share. Because she has disproven me is why I trust her as much as I hate to say it.
Parthenia.
The Earth Genasi who
Yes.
made all the mist move and then lost.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you have a bad history with her, I take it?
More of a rivalry. We're on okay terms until the papers come out, and then it's war.
I see. She discredits you? I assume I'm trying to understand the nature of your quarrel.
I will actually. Is there like a research section, like an archaeological history paper section in this library?
Sure. You can find admittedly a very small portion of this library dedicated to archaeological finds.
I will grab whatever book is by me, and then I will immediately grab whatever Parthenia made to discredit me.
Yeah, so you show Damus an article that you published, and subsequently the follow-up article that Parthenia wrote in response, because as is often in academia, when one professional publishes something, another professional will look into it to give insight or to validate or discredit the claims. And so Parthenia's review of your work is, one might say, quite scathing. She does not hold back on the fact that she finds a lot of your work to be unfounded, that your resources cited are weak at best, and really just digging into every single word that you have ever published. She is scrutinizing, and is not particularly kind about it. And as Damus is, skimming over both articles, you see his eyes widen. He goes, "Oh, I see. I can very much understand why you would not like her."
Her cruelty, there's somewhat of a trustworthiness, though I would prefer not to have to interact with her if need be.
I understand completely. But this article you published, it is about witches. I mean, have you always had such a interest in such dark things?
History itself is dark if you pull back the curtain.
I suppose. It just seems that there's so many other things to study, things that would be more reputable, I guess. Why risk your reputation researching something that people don't like to read about?
Oh, there is always someone who likes to read about these things, but like I said, I prefer the truth. I'm an ally to the truth. I just want to make sure even the losing side has its say. As you know, they say history is written by the winners. I want to at least obfuscate that.
He gives a bit of a crooked smile and just, I think I'm beginning to understand why they think you're a witch sympathizer. And he says this in good humor. He doesn't mean offense by this.
Well, you're...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you continue.
He was just gonna say, I hope you're careful. That's all.
Don't worry. I have my friends. And he kind of gives his own, like, crooked little smile, and, like, he wiggles one ear, like, in, like, a very mischievous fashion.
Well, regardless of what anyone says, I think you a fine person, Oleander, and I would like to be counted as one of your friends. Gives a little pink blush in his green cheeks.
Aw. Well, I think you're up there already with how caring you are for me, so I think we'll make a good pair. A good friend pair.
Gives a big tusky smile at that. Right. Well, if you ever need another research partner, I'm happy to always accompany you. I find this setting, admittedly, much more comfortable than out there with others.
I feel the same.
I do think, however... Go ahead.
No, you continue. I was just gonna say, I'm ready to, like, give the baton to Gwyn.
All right. With that, he will, give you a little smile and just, I think I should, wash up before dinner starts. So, if you'll excuse me, and he'll quickly set his books back in order, and vacate the library. Before we pass the baton, though, Sif, give me a stealth check real quick.
You got it, DM. That's an
Ooh.
artificial 20.
Yeah. I will permit the scene to play out as Sif intended, and I can say that you have been privy to this conversation. So with that, I pass the baton to Sif.
This thing's pretty fucking heavy. Alright. So, Vesper, I was imagining that as Oleander begins to pick up his notes, his books, to either reshelve them or take them, as Oleander reaches for one, hand meets table, moving his hand around, trying to where'd it go, and he looks up a little more to his left, and Gwyn is just standing there leaning against a shelf with the book in question, fluttering through the pages, and then looks up at you. Hello there, Oleander.
I see you have some similar reading tastes.
Well, it's not exactly the subject itself that I'm curious about, but rather you, as he, closes the book shut audibly and then puts it on the table and slides it towards you. You see, Oleander, I decided to swing by for a wellness check. He, like, paces past him. After all, it disturbs me that Dame Leonora wouldn't send somebody to check up on you given how last trial ended.
I find that Dame Leonora might be a little bit busy, and that unicorn did do its job, so I believe I am quite fine. And he kind of like does.
Oh, good.
It kind of like does like a little like He kind of like does like a little movement to show that he's absolutely 100% okay.
Oh no, it's trust me, I am well aware of the unicorn's capability of curing. Hold on. And as he's saying this, he is like moving in turn, seeing you move. He is like positioning himself between you and like just walking away, if he can. I'm more so concerned about the fact that you chose to do such a thing. You see, I'm well aware of the dangers of, well, a person's mental health, and given the fact that you chose to drink a poison, as far as everyone else knows. And, well, the fact that you are being called a witch sympathizer, that they're still questioning your part in an attempted assassination, so on and so forth, you know. I figured it'd be good to do some pry. And pry I shall. Starting off with, why did you drink poison?
You think that there's something wrong with me?
You see, Oleander,
Huh?
I can tell you're not a man for subtlety, so I'll be quite direct about it. In these trials, regardless of whether or not you wish to win our lovely Essie's heart, dying quite literally isn't valuable here as a strategy. There is nothing to die for here. Political favors, information, friendships, a wish. None of that is worth dying for, so why in particular were you willing to risk your life, even if you had a plan to come back from it?
I will tell you that is just one of my capabilities. When I drank that poison, it was just a reveal of my abilities. One of my aces up my sleeves. I was given resources, and I used them.
I out of character. Did Oleander just say that his power is killing himself? I'm sorry. One of my capabilities drinks bleach. I'm so sorry. I can't take it seriously. I see. Yeah, Gwyn's kind of taken aback by what you just said. You spend every ounce of free time you have in these walls, in these between these shelves. The only thing you seem to be making contact with are books and, well, anyone who can, well, share your enjoyment with them, such as Damus back there. And while I admit he also does not seem to be too concerned with the wish, he at least is enjoying his time here. He made friends with you, and I'm certain he'll make friends with others. But I don't think you quite answered my question, Oleander. Is it something to do with the royal family, perhaps? Do you believe that by being part of these games, earning the Celestials Court's trust, you'll just happen along a conspiracy?
I really don't believe that is much of your concern. You think me mentally ill, but were you not the one to release those horses? Were you not the first one to think of harming others here?
If by harming others you meant a crossbow, a simple bolt would not kill anybody here. You would notice the...
I don't think a crossbow is what I said. I said horses.
Oh, my apologies. I thought you meant two different instances. I see. I don't think, well, relatively broken horses would threaten the lives of anyone here. And besides, accidents have been known to happen in the political field. Why should they be any different here?
Quite true, quite true.
Still, though, you are dancing around my questions, and I expressed an appreciation for wanting to be direct with you.
Well, to answer your first question about the poison, it's just in my capabilities. That is all. That is the beginning and the end. I have abilities just like you probably do. Now, what was your second and third question again?
I get the feeling if I pry into what you're looking about, you won't exactly give me a straight answer, so I'll simply have to earn your trust. I presume that you aren't attempting to earn the star for yourself, correct? After all, that would lie in completely the opposite direction of your research here.
I'll say you might have got me.
Can I insight that, or can I take that as a yes?
He was being entirely truthful. He was just being a little sassy about it.
That's fine, alright. I take it you wish to continue doing your research here, but you do realize that means you have to continue making a show of yourself here. I mean, obviously these trials are meant to weed out any potential ill-fitted candidates for the star, right? Who's to say if at some point Dame Leonore could not simply expel any one of us for not showing results?
I'll say that's the truth. She can likely get rid of us at any moment.
But you are in a good spot here, right underneath everyone's noses, being a happy little bookworm. If you wish to stay here, you will have to address these rumors of you being a witch sympathizer, lest they burge forth into other, more unsavory rumors.
Where did you hear about me being an assassin, by the way? That's just juicy. Absolutely insulting, though.
Oleander, you are aware of my rank within the kingdom, right? I am the man who brought peace to these lands.
You are.
Mm-hmm.
You are, so... Do you know my last name?
DM, can I roll a history check for this?
Absolutely, you may.
Alright. This is just a raw D20. Could I use a Battle Master maneuver on this?
No!
Yeah, that's fair. That is a 7.
Nope.
I fear not, but the fact that I came so close without even being part of these cases, imagine what others could dig up. Luella's always had an eye for looking into people's histories. I've had to be extra careful around her.
Well, you may look, but you may not enjoy what you find. After all, I'm just a simple archaeologist for most people.
Oh, you can't just fucking say that line. Narrative token, monologue.
Give us your thoughts, Oleander. Give us your thoughts.
Who are you?
Okay, hold on. This night, this is going to be an issue. If they find out who I am, that I am Oleander Bloodthorne, son of Azel Bloodthorne, I'd probably be kicked out faster than Captain Wild. But there's only so much I'm going to be able to do before that happens, I guess. This one's probably smarter, knows how to keep all his cards to himself. Had to play my ace as well. And I don't have any more inner thoughts, I'm sorry.
No, that was good. That was good. Thank you.
A monologue can be a sentence. Gwyn is gonna look at you smirkingly and go, well, for your luck, I am not much interested in your past. Assassinations have never been my forte, or at least in my wheelhouse back in the kingdom. I come with a proposition. I've had the pleasure of working with a Parthenia in the last trial. I take it you know quite well who that is.
Unfortunately.
Well, your rivalry, I take it, only extends to the academic side of things, correct?
Yes.
Then, how about this? Parthenia has been wounded by a rumor. Not nearly as much a scandal as yours, but, well, let's say I'm not exactly eager to see either of you targeted by the others. And I plan to make use of both of your talents. So, come dinner, you and her join me. And by merely spending time in another's presence, I hope that perhaps both your rumors could be dashed. Parthenia couldn't be a cheater, a spiteful little know-it-all, if she's been acting friendly towards you. And you may not be quite the witch sympathizer if both myself and her, who have received credit for the trial's win, are dining with you as well. And given the chance, perhaps others might join us. Topaz, Captain Wild, who may draw more attention away from you.
Captain Wild, you say?
He's expressed some interest in me. Sent me a letter asking to drink with me, but I'm not exactly comfortable in a one-on-one dining scenario with the man. Little hard to predict that one.
Oh, well, you know, I wasn't keen on keeping dearest Parthenia company, but, you know, I would like to know Captain Wild a bit more as well. So you know what? I will take you up on that offer.
Mm-hmm. Do be sure to bring your friend Damus as well. He might actually be a key in bridging this sort of gap between you and Parthenia. I look forward to your company tonight, Oleander. Oh, Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll be sure to be delightful.
Oh, and one more thing before I leave you to, well, clean up after yourself. The library is a public location. It was not exactly hard for me to find you, and, well, make myself privy to things that I did not necessarily choose to hear. I would recommend, perhaps, requesting a servant to bring up certain literatures up to you. Maybe even having Deimos join you in your room, perhaps. It's awfully more private there.
So you're telling me to go to my private room while there's all these rumors about me in public, huh?
Well, if tonight goes well, perhaps seeing less of you after a positive remark will leave you less of a chance to ruin it.
True. But before I go, and he says this with like a very, I want to say semi-malicious smirk, but like a little knowing. I'd like you to know that sometimes deers eat the baby chicks that fall out of the trees. And then he gets his shit and leaves.
I hope he doesn't forget the fact that I called him a bookworm. And, Gwyn will head out to prepare for dinner.
Phenomenal. Yeah, wow. Moving on from that tense scene, we will move on to dinner. So, a few hours pass, the afternoon uneventful, aside from your conversations with each other. Dinner is set up much like it was your first evening here. Plenty of tables to sit around, plenty of varieties of foods to eat. You can very much mingle amongst yourselves. However, I will note that, Luella, as you enter into the dining hall, you can see on the far end of the room, sort of at their own table, is Dame Leonora and Essie. And Essie particularly flags you down, gives a very polite wave to you, and beckons you over.
Luella walks over, gives them all a polite bow, and patiently awaits why she has been called over.
So Essie will return the polite gesture with a bow of his head. Leonora will do the same, and Essie gives a little smile and a delicate little flush on his face, and just, Miss Luella, thank you. I wanted to offer you a seat here by me, if that is agreeable with you.
Oh, that is very agreeable. After all, who would not enjoy being within the radiance of one so bright as yourself?
Gives a smile, showing off the pearly whites, and says, I also wanted to properly congratulate you. After all, you have succeeded in the first trial, and I'm sure it was no simple feat to tame a unicorn.
Easier than normal, given the circumstances. After all, the others did help out in that matter, knowingly or not.
Oh, you are referring to Sir Gwyn and Miss Fernside.
Indeed, them as well, at least. They were rather helpful and deserve credit as such.
That's very good of you to give them credit in your shared victory. I'm sure that not everyone would be quite so gracious. Would it not be simpler to just take the credit for yourself in its entirety?
Perhaps, but that was not what was agreed upon, and one should keep true to what they promise.
Indeed. I'm quite relieved to hear you say so. And he looks to Dame Leonora and says, Dame Leonora, would you please be so kind as to fetch me a refreshment? I feel my throat is quite parched. And she gives a little nod and backs up to go fetch him something to drink, and also clearly taking a hint that Essie wants to speak privately, or at least as privately as one can in a room full of people. And Essie says, the truth of the matter is in circumstances like this, it can be difficult to know who to trust. I'm sure you can imagine.
She nods, tilting her head.
So I am very glad to see that you are the kind of person that I might consider to be trustworthy.
I thank you. I would consider that high praise from one of your stature.
I should think so. There is a lot at stake in this competition, and it will determine the course of my life. So I must choose with the utmost care.
Indeed you should. Even if it is not me, I do hope whatever choice that you make, you will be happy with.
He gives a soft smile and says, let us consider this hypothetical for a moment. Should you win, what would you do? After all, the prize is immortality.
So Luella almost always has her pipe out if she's just talking, right? And she sort of taps it on her cheek, thinking. And then, if possible, I would like to, Luella would sidle a bit closer, lean in, and whisper her response in Essie's ear. Which, if possible, I would like to type to you for that extra spice.
Ooh! Secret.
Quick, somebody use their narrative token.
Secret DM whispers. I believe only Vesper has a token left.
It is true.
I was joking. I don't think you can use a token like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's unfair.
Yeah. I was just joking. I'm being silly.
But what is everyone's passive perception?
We're in a crowded diner hall. I don't think we could hear.
You wouldn't be able to hear, but you might be able to see a certain owl whispering sweet nothings into the star's ear.
I think the whole dining room is taking notice.
Mm-hmm.
My
Something-
passive perception's 18, so I...
You definitely clock it.
Yup.
Don't I get to roll stealth? Excuse me.
I don't think in this situation you can stealthily whisper in someone's ear.
You know, like how our reputation is like reflects on how much people look at us. Like Gwyn's at a +1, so people will notice when he goes around. Luella's at like a +2, talking to Essie, who is maxed out. Like,
Actually,
uh-huh.
I have an idea.
Uh-huh.
You're saying that I can't make a roll. Are you sure, even if I spend my narrative token in this instance?
You've already... Oh!
I haven't spent it.
Oh, no, yeah. If you can explain to me how you stealthily whisper into the star's ear in a crowded room, I'll allow it.
So, I think so. Luella does have bird wings. And I would think it would be sort of a feigned kind of hug, as it were, that would also be used to somewhat block, you know, the sound and everything they are.
Okay. So, going in for, like, a affectionate gesture, and as such, take the opportunity to whisper something into his ear.
Yes.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
And I have sent you the whisperings.
Interesting. All right.
Sneaky, sneaky.
All right. Essie will Essie is going to engage with the hug to make it a more convincing, action that other people view. And hears your words in their ear and gives a smile, a very soft smile, and a nod of their head, and just, I see. That's a very gracious way to live. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Thank you for being so kind as you are.
And I think at seeing the hug, helicopter parent Dame Leonora is going to make an expedited return to your table with 3 glasses of wine for each, one for each of you, and gives you a little toast and says, "Well, Miss Stalwix, congratulations for your victory, and I hope that you find the success that you are looking for in the next one."
I thank you very much, and I should hope to at least give an entertaining showing in the next trial.
She'll give a little toast to you with her hand and a sip of the wine. And we're going to go to another part of the room while this is going on. Gwen, what are you doing? Where are
Yeah.
you sitting?
I am. I know I never really plans a while, but knowing him, the fucker's gonna show up, and then Oleander is gonna show up. I'm going to look for Parthenia and ask if we may have dinner together.
Certainly.
As well. I'm informing her it's not a one-on-one thing. I'm expecting others to come.
Sure.
And for her to be open to company.
Sure. You find her. She's pretty easy to pick out in a crowd. She wears very bright attire, brightly colored attire. You do notice, however, that tucked underneath her golden brooch that is pinned to her shoulder, there is your feather that she is wearing under her brooch. And she gives you a nod and just, Sir Gwyn, I accept your invitation to accompany you.
I apologize. Today has been a little long for me, so I may lack the discreetness, but have you been doing all right since the trial's end?
She gives a bit of a curt, sort of practiced smile. Quite all right. It's been a eventful day. I find myself battling with the feelings of disappointment at the way things turned out this morning. After all, I initially said that I had no interest in pairing up, and so far my alliance with you has brought me nothing but partial credit for a victory that is not mine.
Exactly, a victory that wasn't yours, yet you still received notice. If you flip it, it's almost positive. But, Parthenia, I want you to keep in mind, everyone's, regardless of whatever rumors they're spreading, they're aware that you've had an impact today. They're going to keep an eye on you. And you'll have others, much like myself, attempt to sway you over to utilize your talents in a more effective way for only them, perhaps not even yourself. So isn't it lucky that... Oh, go ahead.
Are you trying to convince me that these rumors of my cheating and rigging the trials are meant to be viewed positively?
No, but your impact is. Parthenia, I was insinuating that it's a good thing that I caught wind to your skills first before the others did. I doubt they'd let you walk around with much freedom if that were the case during the trials. I trust you well enough that you'll have an impact no matter what, so I'd like us to be on the same side, regardless of whichever trial we face. Parthenia, I'm not often an honest man, but allow me to make myself clear. I am a soldier. I hold no magical talents. My skills apply to the battlefield and protection, and my skills have clearly rusted due to the peace that I've brought this kingdom. So I employ my best skill, recognizing talent. From my time as a mercenary, I've plucked the most common of commoners, farm boy, the helping hand, the blacksmith's apprentice, the haberdasher's apprentice. And I've made an army that forged a lasting peace and allowed every man, woman, and everyone else under that rainbow under me to pursue their dreams. As he does that, he's going to take a quick look around to see if he sees Scalm anywhere before looking back at Parthenia. I recognize... Oh,
I'm sorry. I was going to say, at a glance, you do find him as... Or rather less so, you find Captain Wild. And wherever Captain Wild goes, Skalm is not far behind.
I imagine if they're talking or looking elsewhere, like I don't want Gwyn to make eye contact with Skalm, but just to like look in his direction before turning back to Parthenia.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, Parthenia, I look to make alliances because while I'm not sure who will claim Essie's heart, as even if a person won every trial, it's quite possible Essie could, well, reject their advances. I would at least like to be part of that pool of talented folks. So I'm finding people, and I'm allying myself with them and themselves with each other, so we can cut the rabble out and get to business.
Do you mean to tell me, Sir Gwyn, that your ultimate goal is not the heart of the star itself, but to bolster your... She clicks her tongue. Fading reputation.
Oh, I never said that. But if I didn't make a chance to forge these alliances, Parthenia, then it's quite possible I could be on the receiving end of some of your abilities. But in turn, you may find yourself pointing a weapon or a threat towards perhaps Oleander, when in reality you two are both geniuses whose talents could, well, push you further than if you were to push each other separately.
Her nose kind of wrinkles at the statement of you saying that they were both geniuses. And she she sort of lifts her head in a arrogant fashion and just... Let me tell you something, young man. You find yourself very fortunate that because of these baseless and unfounded stories circulating about myself, and I assure you, I will get to the bottom of them, I find myself reliant upon your name. So, I hope that our alliance brings mutual benefit. Because if it doesn't, I'm afraid our friendship will need to be cut prematurely.
It's been a while since I've had someone speak directly like that to me. So many people here like to dance around questions and, well, piss me off. So, forgive my vulgarity. But, trust me, I do intend to offer you more than just my name. I may not have a mind capable of the scientific, but I promise you, I'm not going to leave you to suffer in some baseless rumor. And, that he'll start, preparing to eat, waiting to see if anyone else pulls up to the dining table.
Not to you, Gwyn, at this moment, although people are definitely noticing your prolonged conversation with Parthenia. Oleander.
Yes.
What are you doing at dinner?
Okay, so, beforehand, Oleander's like, okay, I guess I should probably dress up since I have about 100 eyes, how many ever people are here on me. And, he normally doesn't dress up, but he's like, okay, I got this. He actually did come prepared, so he's putting on, he wears, the traditional wear of servitors. The traditional, nomadic wear, but instead of, the usual torn, worn leathers, it's a very snowy white, chest plate and shoulder plate. and on his back he has like a small snow white leather saddle, and he has like little like caps on his antlers that look like snow, and he's like, okay, I have eyes on me. A pigeon's gonna stand out more than a peacock in a place filled with peacocks. And he like kind of like struts out of his room wearing this beautiful snow white leathers that are also like tufted leather, snow white leather. And he goes to get Damus and is like, he like knocks on his door and is like, Damus, we've been invited to dinner.
Damus opens the door and takes a moment to admire your outfit, and I sort of roaming along, you just, Oleander, I'm starting to feel a tad underdressed, and he sort of tugs awkwardly at the sleeves of his suit that is admittedly a little too small.
It's fine. I don't think you're going to be the one that's stared at tonight. I think it's gonna be me.
Oh, thank goodness. I mean, not thank goodness. I mean,
It's all right. Come on. You're not riding on my back this time. You're walking. Come
oh no, I wouldn't presume. I know that was a special circumstance. I wouldn't think to. Yes, let's go.
Oleander is like gleefully laughing. It's more like teasing than anything. It wasn't like an actual like dig.
But yes, he will join you at dinner, and the two of you are having your meal at one of the many tables, and you notice that all eyes, I shouldn't say all eyes, many eyes are on you, because not the reason that you expected, not because of your nice new outfit, of being a pigeon amongst peacocks, but the fact that approaching your table is Prince Alto and Princess Adora.
Can I ask something?
You may.
Are they carrying plates of food with them?
Oh my god.
They are not, although Alto definitely has a beverage in hand.
Oh man, I felt like they would be the kind of people who visit my table with plates of venison, but okay, continue.
No, nothing quite so crass. But they approach and just, Oleander, was it? That's Adora speaking, the princess. Do you mind if we sit with you and your friend for a moment?
Sure, I don't believe I could stop you.
No, I don't believe you could. And she makes herself very comfortable. Alto is choosing to stand rather than sit, if only to just sort of make himself the bigger presence of the four of you. And he's just looking around the room and just, can't believe that Dame Leonora is permitting these pirates into the trials. I mean, it's truly just a mockery of the whole event. I mean, truly, it looks like the Celestial Court will just let in anybody these days. And gives a very pointed look at Damus, who is instantly cowed, just face down, looking at the tablecloths rather than anything else.
Well, we truly all are supposed to be on the same level, Prince Alto. I don't think lineage matters as much as you tout yours around.
And you truly believe this, do you?
Well, I haven't seen your mark on history yet.
His cocky smile cracks a little bit at that, but he quickly collects himself. And he goes, "Perhaps not. But when we win the trials, I'm sure you'll be eating those words. Much like your words in your last paper that was so abominable. Can't believe anybody read that trash."
You think you hurt me? Well, let's see your accreditations.
And he sort of lifts his arms in this wide gesture, just... You're looking at it.
And this will all be ruins in a few 100 years.
Yes, I'm sure some other scruffy little man can write about me and my family then.
Did you all just come over here to, I don't know, mock me?
Adora at this point chimes in. Certainly not. We wanted a better insight to our competition. You see, it isn't every day that a witch sympathizer is among us, competing for the heart of a star. One can't help but wonder what their intentions might be.
Oh, so you just believe all the drivel?
And you say it's false? That was quite a fearsome display. You must be truly desperate.
I could also be putting on a show.
A show. And she gives a very sly expression. Her black eyes narrow. I don't think any of us are very interested in it, Oleander. I think, if anything, I'm sure all of us, particularly the star, would feel a whole lot safer without you here.
Should I go talk to Dame Leonora about implied vague threats?
By all means, talk to Dame Leonora. I'm sure she's itching to speak with you.
I may be an issue, but not in the way these rumors flying about really dictate. I'm sure Dame Leonora can see truth. Unlike you.
I suppose we'll have to wait and see. And Alto will take the arm of his sister and and just give one last look to you and say, "It's going to be so much fun getting rid of you in the next trial. Until then, we have other, more important people to talk to." And they won't give you a nod of farewell or any further words. They are off into the crowd. And Damus finally gathers the courage to look up and looks at you and just, "Oh my goodness, I've never been so scared in all my life."
They're a lot of bark, but I'm afraid there might be a little bit of bite for me next trial.
Seemed plenty enough a bite to me.
They're like little dogs. They can only be deadly when they're not trained. Unfortunately, they're not trained.
And he'll sort of lean towards you and whisper, "Are you sure it's still a good idea to be digging around like this?"
And like he'll whisper back, "I don't think they know what's actually going on. They're just being them. Which is why I really don't want them to be king and queen."
I can't imagine what would happen if they knew what you were researching.
It seems they're very intent on removing me, whether they not know or not. Though, to be fair, I haven't been nice to the royal family in general. And feeling unsafe suddenly, Oleander will be like, "Let's go make our way to Gwyn and his table."
Oh, okay. He seems very receptive to that idea. So Oleander, you and Damus will be joining up with Gwyn.
Yeah, Oleander's not gonna look happy about it, but considering that he just had the worst people in the world approach him, he's gonna be like, no, not Parthenia, you're not that bad after all.
It can always be worse.
Can always be worse. All right. Topaz, what are you doing at dinner?
Oh, I've been sitting here debating that for the last 20 minutes or so. I actually imagine, walking into the dinner hall, seeing Luella sitting with the star, as well as seeing Captain Wild just by himself. Oh, not by himself, but with his own crew. And then seeing Gwyn just kind of just like, they feel a little bit uncertain of their standing right now. But like, there's definitely a noticeable hesitation, even as Lapis probably runs off directly in the direction of whichever current person she is pursuing.
Yeah, she does seem quite taken with Cordelia Lockhart, and by proxy her Aunt Harriet. But if you wish, she can wave you over. You're always welcome to hang out with your sister. I will also note that as you're scanning the room, you do make eye contact with Captain Wild, and though he keeps a respectful distance, he does offer a subtle smile and a nod of acknowledgement in your direction.
So, I imagine after just a bit of debate, seeing the folks gathered at Gwyn's table, she's going to kind of like take a deep breath and just think to herself to be confident. And as they walk, I'm just going to do, because I have to, I did draw it after all. I'm going to describe Topaz's outfits. They're going to walk towards Gwyn, but they they are wearing a like nice like kind of low neck dress with a sort of poofy sleeves that only go to like slightly below the shoulders, but then also wearing white gloves. The same dress also kind of bustles out into a skirt that is a bit wider, but at the bottom of it, it starts to flare outwards with a set of circular rings going all throughout it, each of which are fitted with its own diamond-shaped emeralds. Around her neck is a string of pearls, and otherwise she is wearing her hair just simply, as she normally would. And just kind of gonna walk over to the table that Gwyn is at and aim to sit next to him, given that he is the best relation that he has at the table, and really at the party. Is the seat taken?
Not quite yet, although I am enjoying the. I'm assuming at this point Parthenia and Oleander have like started to either argue or stare each other down.
I think, honestly, at Oleander's arrival, Parthenia will excuse herself. She does not really want to converse with him.
That is not going to help her rumors, goddamn. I was like, girl, have faith in the plan. Chose not to. All right. At the moment, no one has laid claim to that seat. Please help yourself.
Thank you. Can't help but find myself being a bit nervous in this situation. Oh,
How
still
so?
feel like I don't know very many people here. And I don't have the confidence to just go and sit down with them.
Gwen's gonna like look a little like unnerved by that, like a sweat drop. Like, well, you see, it's funny that you should say that. As like looks across the table, like I'm assuming Oleander and Davis literally heard Topaz say all that.
Oh, well. Hello,
Please.
Oleander. It's a pleasure to see you this night as well.
It's a pleasure seeing you again as well.
I appreciate the effort that you did put into your outfit tonight. It's quite nice. A bit different, but then again, different is kind of what makes my outfits my own, so I have to respect it.
Thank you. It's a very inspired take on the traditional wear of Servitor. I come from Snowflake, so I do thoroughly enjoy a lot of snow-colored things.
Fair enough. I mean, coming from Stone's Throw, it's a bit... Well, I mean, you know my outfits.
They are quite nice to look at in this. And I kind of like look about, and I see that most people are just wearing the trends, aren't they?
Yes, you can say, while there's definitely some cultural differences between like species and races, many people are wearing fashions that are similar to what would be considered popular in the capital.
While I do enjoy the history of clothes myself, it is very interesting to see that people have their own histories, their own choices that they make. And yours is really nice.
You seem to have turned a bit of a new leaf here, Oleander. Given that our first interaction was you accusing my family of basically mining blood diamonds. Though I hope that you realize, now at least, that that is not exactly who I am.
I did see that it's not who you are. It's probably not who your sister is. That I have more of an issue with just how that area is handled in general, but it's not your doing, no.
When we have more than 30 siblings, and technically 5 parents, can get a bit wild.
I
Gwyn,
have.
You wanted to say something, Gwyn? I apologize if I cut you off. Gwyn?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said that to Oleander.
No,
No,
yeah, go ahead.
I was merely sighing as the. It's gonna be quite a long evening, but I would just like to draw attention to something. You see this wide room of people that are around us? See how all of them, regardless if they're here just for political gain, are aiming for the star in some way, shape, or form. I would rather have the people sitting at this table, people I know, regardless of whether or not I have a positive or negative opinion with them, work with me to some endpoint than to struggle against this wave of people by myself. I can tell there's no love lost between you, much like how Oleander, you seem to get on everyone's bad side. Although that is not your intention, I'm merely poking fun. But I do know, in a war, it is good to have as many resources at your availability. And right now, you two know each other. I know you two. Deimos knows you two, and so is myself. Perhaps we can leave the disagreements as just that, disagreements, and simply poke fun at each other, and hopefully not get too targeted in the next trials. And with that, Gwyn is gonna look in Luella's direction, and I assume that if Deimos, Oleander, and Topaz also look in that direction, not everyone's clocking Luella as a threat, but it is a noted fact that she is sitting at the table with the
Oh yes.
with the star.
Oh yes, it has not escaped anyone's
Jumped.
attention.
It's just saying, Luella's gonna get jumped, and we should work together. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that's all. I'd hoped tonight's dinner would go a little more smoothly. I was actually surprised Parthenia would leave as soon as you showed up, Oleander. That's not gonna do her any favors.
It's fine. We are not on great terms. I do respect her, but I do not wish to keep her company much myself.
Topaz, do you not like Oleander?
If
You
you
can be
want,
honest here.
no, I can tell the truth. It's truthfully kind of take it or leave it kind of thing. It's just well, I know he doesn't like my family, and to be fair, I don't particularly like my family either. So I just prefer that people don't look at me and see the next coming of my father, or even someone to carry out the family business. Just see me. That's what matters. So if we can get past that, then Of course, we can be amicable.
And Oleander, do you have a problem with Topaz as herself? The individual, the dressmaker?
I do not. I'm very much on the same terms as Topaz. It's very much we are our friendship, our relationship could go anywhere. We could be enemies, we could be friends, but again, like they said, my conflict is more with the past and how that area has been handled by the mining corporations there. I have no issues with her as a person.
Then here's to hopefully the next trial, none of us drinking poison nor eating unicorn hooves as he holds his drink up.
It's funny that you say that as you propose a toast, because at this moment, you made a comment about how Parthenia immediately dipped out. She actually returns at this moment, and she's got 2 glasses of wine in her hand, and she very much makes a show of handing one to Oleander. And she gives you a very kind of a stern look, even though she has that practiced smile. She is very much expecting you to take this glass from her.
I want to insight check.
You may.
Oh my god, this is poison, isn't it? I have advantage, so that's a 16.
Uh-huh. She looks determined. She doesn't, as if, like, this is difficult for her to do. This feels like you can tell there's a part of her that feels like she's admitting defeat in this moment.
Then I will meet her determination, and instead of... I'll put the glass down that I was raising, and I'll take hers gladly, and hold it up instead.
You take the glass that she offered Oleander?
Oh, I thought you said she offered me one as well. Sorry.
No, one is for her that she's holding. The other is for Oleander.
Alright. I'm gonna motion to Oleander to take it.
Oleander does take it. He takes it with a smile, and
she'll make a little comment, even just, it's not poisoned.
I thoroughly enjoyed your last paper, Parthenia.
Her smile turns a little more genuine at that.
And then he sips because he just knows that if he just knows that was a miss he did not want to say, and he just sips the wine.
She'll give a little silent gesture of a toast to you, and takes a sip of her wine as well. And she looks to the group, seeing it has grown in number now. And her eyes settle on Gwyn and just says, well, here's to new friends, then.
New friends, as he kinks glasses and drinks before bursting out laughing, and I want him to, like, he doesn't laugh, like, heartily or chuckily, but, like, in this sort of, like, graceful but loud manner, like a child almost, where, like, still, if all it took was wine for you two to open up, I can see how effective it all is. That's all. You two honestly remind me of siblings, to be honest.
Ugh, don't say that. But
I mean, one mere compliment and a smile. Come on, Parthenia.
Oleander
You
like
two didn't
levels
need
his
me for
eyes
all
at
this.
Gwyn.
Come on, Topaz. You and Lapis must see the resemblance here.
If you knew anything about me and Lapis, then this would be We do nothing but shit talk each other day in, day out. But by God, do we love each other more than anything.
Bro,
So-
literally. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna say, so yes, I do see the resemblance.
Gwen hearing that and looking back at them and just like laughing out loud even harder, kind of like almost banging the table, but like politely to draw attention. uh,
At this point, Damus chimes in, and he just looks to each person at the table and goes, "Well, I've never had so many friends before, so it's nice to have them. I hope I can be of use to you all."
Use? Forget use. This is a night of enjoyment. We've had a big day of exercise and gallivanting, but now liquor flows freely here. The meats are beautifully rendered, and we have the sights here to behold. As he like Parthenia's dress, Topaz's dress, Gwyn's armor, gestures towards Essie in general, and like the other people. Please. We are treated to quite a wonderful arrangement here. As long as we keep playing these games, then who's to say we can't have a night of revelry every night then?
Yes, and Parthenia will chime in. However, I would like to encourage you all to still keep your wits about you.
If I may, I want to make an insight check on Gwyn. This soft, fun nature that he seems to be exhibiting tonight.
Go for it.
Wow, with a plus 11, 15.
Ooh.
Across the board. Alright, how much do I want to give off of 15? Alright, between what... I'm assuming that, like, Topaz is more on the defensive side when it comes to Gwyn after what Captain Wild said.
Mm-hmm, that would be accurate.
As you look into Gwyn, you want to assume that this was all planned. That, like, the dinner was most likely planned, especially off of him talking about, like, how he expected things to go better. But this sense of enjoyment is genuine and doesn't feel... It's sort of like a reaction. You're not sure where it's coming from, but there's this twisted sense to it where Gwyn isn't, like, intentionally having fun, he just is. And it's sort of like you're peering through the feathers a little bit, and it's confusing.
Indeed, that's pretty accurate to how how he feels and how Topaz feels.
Mm-hmm.
Bit surprised to see you like this, Gwyn. Not unwelcome though.
He like catches him and says, "Oh, right, I don't want to make too much noise now. Thank you, Topaz. I suppose it's been a while since I've dined like this with other people."
Topaz is going to kind of thoughtlessly put their hand sort of on Gwyn's shoulder and just like kind of give it a little like soft like rub of just like I'm sure that by the time that I find myself getting drunk for the first time around you lovely people, we'll have plenty of happiness to go around.
Gwyn will look back at you, and if Lapis is definitely gonna note that it in her head notes that it could be the booze, or maybe Gwyn is really blushing, but he simply looks at you and nods with a smile on his face.
I like seeing you enjoy yourself.
And here's to many more successful trial, so that we can continue to have nights like this together. As he gestures back to the group.
Indeed.
Here, here.
Cheers. Yeah, ditto.
Ditto.
And with that, unless anything has anything else they would like to do at dinner, we will put a close on this scene. And I would like to, for our final vignette of the evening, I would like to revisit Topaz as you accept your invitation for a midnight rendezvous with Essie. So Essie instructed you to meet him at the observatory. This is a section of the estate where there's a large glass dome ceiling and from which a large telescope is pointed up towards the sky. There are walls of scrolls and celestial charts and books, and it smells like old paper in this room. It smells like history. And when you find yourself in this room, Essie is sort of lingering by the telescope and peering through it.
I imagine as Topaz sort of walks up, this is very, very new to them. Like, just in general, like, Stone's Throw being sort of a mostly, like, wooded, shaded area that has, like, deep mines. He probably doesn't, like, look... He's not able to see the sky very often because he spends so much of his time deep in the mines. So, and sort of, just as a small little flavor aside, that's one of the reasons that she loves sky pirates and like sort of romanticizes them a lot, because the sky is something they're just not as familiar with. So I imagine as they walk up the stairs to the top of this observatory, they're just going to say, "Oh, evening, Essie, this is quite the wondrous place you've got here."
Yes, good evening. And he acknowledges you, but he doesn't quite look at you just yet, still looking through the telescope.
Well, should I wait over here then? Are you busy? Should I come back later?
No. It's all right. You can stay. It's a clear night tonight. I didn't think it would be since it snowed earlier. Here, have a look through. And he'll back up away from the telescope and motion for you to have a look through it.
Well, I don't know if I've ever done this before. Is there... Oh, I should probably take off my glasses a little bit to make sure that I don't bonk them against the glass of the telescope. And so she'll just kind of pull them off and just say, "Do I just, like, look into this? Is there a technique for it?"
Just as simple as using your eyes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And they'll just kind of... Oh,
I was just gonna say, as you peer through, and for the first time you see an up-close glimpse of the cosmos. You see stars, constellations, planets, nebulas, galaxies, in a winding, miraculous pattern that you've never seen before because it's invisible to the naked eye. What do you see when you look through it?
if I were to give it one word, I think would be inspiration. It's beautiful, incredible. It's just the universe is so vast, and I just can't help but wonder all the beauty that's out there far beyond our reach. Makes me want to go back and sketch out some ideas for a dress or a accessory, something. Not that I don't want to spend time with you here. It's
No, I understand the impact it can have. The heavens are mesmerizing to those who have never experienced it. When I look through, I see home. And all my siblings up there. Countless voices that I can't hear anymore. Do you have family, Miss Topaz?
she's kind of like she's looking towards him with just like this really soft expression of just sadness, but also lots of care. And he just says, I don't know if it's as many as you do, but oh yes, family is amongst the biggest, if not the biggest I've ever encountered in my time here in at least our little planet. My father has multiple wives, and with those wives he's had many, many, many children. I'm just one of many, and one that I don't think he particularly likes too much. But I'm doing my best to just keep on trying to be myself.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I didn't mean it as a pity. I'm sure that you are feeling something similar from what you just described.
It is difficult to stand out when surrounded by so many other radiant presences. But now that I am here, I am the only one. It's hard not to feel a little lonely. Do you feel lonely, even surrounded by siblings, family?
Sometimes I would say I do. I'm sure you've at least noticed my sister here. We are quite close, but I mean, aside from that, we're just about my mother as well. We do talk, but I didn't really have very many friends back at Stone's Throw. Turned down many a suitor, and just didn't particularly entertain the idea. Felt like I had to make something of myself. Couldn't stop and slow down. Yet now here I am trying to advance that career, and I couldn't help it during the dinner. At least when I entered the dinner, I couldn't help but feel probably one of the loneliest I have felt. So I just realized I don't really know anyone. And it's hard to tell if you do in these sorts of high society situations.
I was rather under the impression that you have made quite a few friends since you've been here.
Hard to say. And maybe I'm just doubtful. I just kind of find it hard to believe that I'm listening to their true feelings. Like there's this veil between one another. I do think I did see a little bit of perhaps the real Gwyn tonight, which did warm my spirits a bit. And maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe friends is the right word. But at least when I entered that room, I don't think... definitely didn't feel that way then.
You value truth, then, even if it's potentially unpleasant? I know that many people mask their feelings, their true intentions, but is it not easier to digest politeness?
Perhaps I'm too worried that behind the air of politeness lies a dagger waiting to be plunged. Perhaps that's cynical of me.
You worry of betrayal.
I don't know, but I think so. I don't know, I just want to find someone that really I feel like cares. And maybe I'm not ready to trust, but I want to be. Does that make sense?
The expression on Essie's face looks very calculating. The wheels are turning like he's trying to figure out what best to say next. And finally, he slumps over and he leans against the telescope and he goes, "Oh, all this is fucking exhausting."
It is fucking exhausting. How the hell do people do this the whole time? They just kind of go about their whole days just acting like they're some sort of fancy know-it-all, when deep down we're all just as scared and as lost as each other. And then Topaz just kind of catches himself and just like, oh god, I think I might have needed to get that one out there a little.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's good to talk.
And Topaz is gonna kind of walk over and just, not get too close, but just get near and just kind of give a look in the eye, in his eyes, and just say I mean, I think that's kind of why I'm here, at least. I don't know if my letter conveyed that very well, but...
To be honest, I wasn't sure if I could trust it. I mean, it's just as you said, these schemes, these people, but I hoped there would be someone, some people that I could be honest with. So I'm glad I came.
I'm glad you had me. I can't say that. I won't say something silly. Seem to tend to do that, but I promise you, if you're looking for someone you can just talk to, I've never been very good at hiding my true feelings.
Well,
It,
I find it particularly refreshing, Miss Topaz.
is there anything you want to talk about? Other than this whole charade being a mess and exhausting to deal with? Now, charade, sorry, there I go again. That might be a bit too strong of a word. Just feels like at least people are playing some sort of charade.
There's a lot of pomp and circumstance surrounding the trials, and I understand it. Mortals love to flaunt their presumed importance. And you all are such social creatures. So I understand the need to convene like this and, peacock amongst each other.
I tried.
You did.
I tried to peacock and I hated it. I hated every second of it. I mean, I guess I'm peacocking with my outfits, but it's just, I'm proud of them. So I want to show them off, but it's really just as simple as that.
Peacocking doesn't quite suit you, Mixed Topaz. But I think it's right to be proud of your good work. And I'm sorry that I had to refuse you when you first approached me. I hope you understand, though.
Oh, I most certainly do. I must admit, I definitely didn't think that one through very far. I thought I'd be able to just waltz in here and be like, ooh, I have to get the star's attention and, go from there. But I think I quickly realized that I did not think that through, and I did not consider really anyone's feelings other than myself. And that was definitely wrong of me.
Was that really your only purpose in coming here?
Would it be wrong to say yes? I kind of thought that it would be as simple as just like, oh, get a fancy person to wear your outfits. Then you'll be successful. Then Daddy Dearest will be willing to acknowledge you. I know
you came
it was
all this way to dress me up.
I mean, I guess other people too, but you were definitely my first priority.
You weren't at all tempted by prestige, power, immortality?
Oh. I can't really say I know what to do with myself if I was immortal. I mean, I'd love to spend it with someone that I care deeply about. But really, just like, in some of the storybooks I've read, I just hear these stories about how there's all these twists and turns and drama and craziness. But really, the love stories that I really would love to experience is just one where you can just have fun with someone that is your best friend, but also someone that you love. That's what sounds perfect to me. Don't need some crazy high-speed adventures, just a caring, loving presence that I know will always have my back.
Essie gives a very fond smile and says, "You know, some people might call that boring. But I think it's a lovely picture that you paint." I hope it comes true for you. Immortality or not.
I don't know if I'll make it be able to come true, but by God, I would love for it to.
Well,
Maybe I'm just a hopeless romantic, but then again, I have read a lot of books on that, both from here as well as beyond the wall.
yes. The people beyond the wall definitely love their books. They need that sense of romance and adventure that they lack. And they create such marvelous things out of that desire.
Can't help but admire it, you know?
Indeed. I've been watching both sides of the wall for quite some time. But it was more like a performance, like you're sitting at the theater in a box. Just watching. Sometimes you have to participate. I'm sure you'll agree. 'Cause you snuck out, didn't you? Left your family to participate.
Is it that obvious? Yes.
Well, Dame Leonora wasn't expecting you, so I did put 2 and 2 together. Speaking of which, I should probably return back.
Of course. It is late, I'm sure. I'm sure if she's not already listening, she'll be on her way.
Listen, I snuck out of the heavens. I can certainly sneak past one halfling, no matter how talented of a knight she may be.
Fair enough.
But I'm sure she will eventually notice me missing, so I'd rather avoid that.
Please. Don't want to get you in trouble.
Thank you for this.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
And with that, he will give a polite curtsy and make a very quick, surprisingly silent retreat. And you are left alone in the observatory.
I think Topaz will just look through the telescope for a bit longer, just enjoying this new experience.
And peering at the silent heavens, that is where we will end things for tonight. I want to thank each and every one of my players for their tremendous acting tonight. I hope you all had so much fun. It was just so much fun playing with you guys and leading you through all of the drama.
DM, you might have mentioned that if tonight's session went well, you might have given us a little something, a little gift, perhaps. I'm kidding. A little number, perhaps, that goes up. Anyways.
We will hold off on levels up for now, unfortunately, but post-trial number 2, who knows? Maybe I'll sing a different tune. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you had a great time. We will be playing again next week, actually, since this was a makeup session. We'll be playing next week on Wednesday. That is the 26th, where we will resume our adventures, our drama, our shenanigans, and trial number 2 will be announced. So, until then, take care, my friends. Have a very good night. Please follow each of my players. They are all remarkably talented individuals, creators, crafters, artists, and streamers in their own right. So please give them all of the respect and love they deserve. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a very good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.